shows, let's see who you're playing with today. I'm sure it's without. We've got taken on Mel, and then we're going to go over $10,000, so let's get right to it. Melissa and Carson, we're up first. Oh my God. Yes. All right. Okay. Well, let's take a look at the answers for this round. I'm going to set the opening bid at 40 words. Melissa, can you do it in less? Oh, wow. Goodness. 19. 19, okay. Carson, I was on the name of John Tate. 17.
For black people, it's all about the unity. Nothing they can do with us, so ain't nobody.
We are in a state of emergency. Want a song about it? Like to hear? Here it goes. Freedom!
Suppose we go where no man has gone before.
Well, mine then.
We know how to treat it. The doctor couldn't come very much. It's just a matter of time and rest. Well, I hope you get your health. Thank you. Look, I get to it all up here. We'll take it on that. Bye. Thank you. The air been paid. So we no church names. Appreciate it. Looks like we're on friends. Yeah.
Thank you for donating to my uncle Taalik. I appreciate it, and I know that my family appreciate it because he's been on our lives for years now. So yeah, and I just want to say thank you because yeah, yeah, we love you guys. Bye. Peace forever and always. Peace forever and always. Peace forever and always.
Someone like the dog. You paid 25 cents a day. Could I please? Unless you can only do it in school. That's fine. All right. 10 cents a day is plenty for running errands. So that's a deal. Deal. Shall I do it? Let's get started. Hey. You know, 10 cents a day, I can buy enough of this to make that dress in 5 days. Why do you think the mommy on Saturdays? Because if they do, and if you see the other week besides, then the money. Very much. Just wait. Say this cup shatter. Say this girls and I'll start loading the way. Yes. If $7, 40 cents.
I ordered this book. God is on trial. I ordered this book from Amazon. And I must say, I read it. It's very well written, very thought provoking.
Hey, my brother, you know I had to call you and say Anyway, I'm done. So, don't expect me to be on YouTube all the time, and because but none of you are helping me out. I have to go to work every day. I have to go to work, to make money, and none of y'all are dropping me $5 or nothing in my Cash App or nothing. So don't expect me to come on here making videos all the time, because that's not gonna happen. Like I said, it takes a lot of energy to come on here and talk and make videos and put together, presentations, and all of that takes time and energy. Don't expect me to come on here talking and carrying on.
Still not sure about this job with fairies. I'm not sure it's right. Mom, I told you they're very nice. They also have complete strangers. I must say they did seem like very nice people. You got it, Grandma. But what about this one that's sick? How do we know it isn't contagious? Carol's swamp fever is not contagious. Are you sure it's swamp fever?
It's all about the unity of the making sure whatever everybody in a state of emergency. What was song about? I can hear it. Here you go.
This credit app will save you money. Reality is, it's a very uncertain year ahead, so you need to be sure your healthcare coverage is up to date. Call now, it's free. I called to get dental, transportation, meals, and a gift back benefit. They help me so much. Get dental care, dentures, unlimited transportation, and home delivered meals at no additional cost. And your zip code may have coverage with a give back benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every month. With the uncertainty of the virus and vaccines, you need to get everything you're entitled to. Millions of people have trusted the Medicare coverage helpline. You can too. Call now. It's free. Call 1-800-917-1649. That's 1-800-917-1649 now. Dog, not just a trusty crime-fighting canine, sometimes a lover. Sit or pull up Saturday nights on Cozy TV. Hopefully I hear that. All right. My name is Dr. Myron, and I came by to see if I can be of any help to you. Doctor, I'm vacating. Pleasure, Mr. Davis. I'm told you have a sick man here. Yes, my partner has swamp fever. It's an old flea problem in trouble here. It's no trouble. Mr. Eagles mentioned some accompanying convulsions, and just doesn't sound right.
Whew, alrighty then, man. It's colder than a mug. It's colder than a mug. All right. Yes. It's time to get this party started. We before we came on the air, I let my promo video play, so there's no need for what they call those things, announcements. We already done all that. I just want to welcome everyone to this special afternoon spontaneous version of what we call the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. I am the gatekeeper, the host of this program, known here on social media, wherever you may find me. I am known as the mighty Angel Snup 7. I am your soul brother, number 1, Angel Snup 7, Taalik Ibn'rad. And once again, thank you for joining us. The brothers, our deacons of reality is in the house. Thank you so much. As always here to keep me company. Brother Soul, Brother 85, and Twin Pyramid. Those who are listening, my Facebook, and all those who will be listening to this video later on, I really appreciate it. It's always an honor that you would give us a few minutes of your time. Like I said, this is a very special edition of our broadcast. And this afternoon, we have an author. We have an author of the book called 3 Steps to End Racism right now. Right now. Not tomorrow. Right now. And he's with me right here. We're going to get this party started. I want to tell the brother who is Palmetto Star. He's going to introduce himself, and he's going to do a lot of the talking because I'm not a talk show host. I'm not an interviewer, but I will give this brother an opportunity, give him this platform to speak to the little people that I talk to, because, I'm not a big guy. I talk, my subscribers, I only have 10 subscribers. I only get 10 views. I hope that's good enough for you. Now a lot of folks know about me or whatever. I don't know how's that possible when I only have 10 subscribers and 2 is in the chat room. I don't know what the other 8 doing. They might be on the job or stuck in Texas in the snow somewhere. I don't know. Right. And I only get 10 views. So I'm 1 view, you're 1 view. That's 2. So I need 6 more views. I've been on here. I've been on here since 2007. That's the best I could do, brother. So, but anyway, you're welcome to whatever I have at this table. And with that said, I'm going to turn the mic over. I'm going to take my little notes. And for those of you who have questions for the brother, put it in the chat room. We'll get that to him so he can answer any kind of inquiry. I'm going to pass the mic over to our brother Palmetto Star. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Or you have another name, Prophet. I can't pronounce the Prophet. How you said it?
Prophet Rhovet.
Rhovet. Okay. So I'm going to turn the mic over to our Prophet Rhovet.
All right. Black Supremacy. This is Palmetto Star, the Ratchet Revolutionary. But you can call me Prophet Rhovet of Black Supremacy. And I really appreciate you, Brother Snoop, that how you, you came in like that. Me and you actually talked a lot a couple years ago. And I just did recently come out with the book. We had the book release, celebration, and reading for 3 Steps to End Racism right now. It's a manual for the new world. It talks about how to effectively end racism at this very moment. When you read it, racism will be over for the reader at the last page. And when implicated and implied by society, those 3 steps will completely end racism on a societal level. So I'm very excited about it. And I'm also very excited about, putting this book out. I put the book out for free. It's online. You could read it for absolutely free online. However, I do encourage everybody to get a hard copy because I have been deplatformed. I was getting deplatformed before deplatforming was a thing. I am shadow banned on all social media. I also host a radio show called Too Raw for TV, and we've been mentioned on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, not because they love the content, but because it's anti-status quo. So, they with material like 3 Steps to End Racism right now, they are constantly censoring things. In the age of fact checkers, that the truth is often censored and told that it's not facts. So we know that there's a distinct difference between facts and truth. Facts are only associated with the truth. If you look up the definition, facts are only something that people know about, that is popular and that is associated with the truth. So oftentimes they'll just say, "Oh, well, that's not a fact. That's not a fact. It's not going with what Joe Biden or Dr. Fauci said." And 3 Steps to End Racism right now, oh yeah, it's not going with what any of them are saying at all. It's real life. It talks about because right now we have been conditioned to not speak on race in exact terms. Talking about this is what we're doing as far as a race of people. This is how pink people are as far as a race of people, and talking about how to get out of or how to readjust the situation to end racism. So my goal is for every Black person to read or be read to 3 Steps to End Racism right now, because it is that important. That's why it's my first book, and I released it for absolutely free. And one of the things that I'll give you just a glimpse of what's in the book is I wrote it to be read in one sitting, so you could effectively read the book in one sitting. Also, it introduces a term that people may or may not be familiar with, and that's Black supremacy. And that is Black people's true culture is our culture to be the greatest people that we are, that greatest beings that we can be. This is what they were trying to show us with the pyramids, with the underground temples in Ethiopia, things of that nature, where scientists wonder even to this day, and architects cannot recreate the pyramids or recreate those underground temples. It's because they were there to show us at this time right now about our supreme nature. So that's why we dominate all realms that we are in, whether it be sports or whether it be academia or whether it be business, any of those realms. Once we get in there and put our foot in the door, we start to be the greatest at those things. And that's our true culture. You know what I'm saying? That's our true culture, is to be great. And so getting back to our true culture and getting out of this fake Black culture, which is the African American that watching, Boys in the Hood. This is what they show us as Black culture: movies, TV, media, music. No, we are not Lil Wayne's last album. We are not, Belly. We are not any of these things. We are not that. We are beings that are great and strive to be greater and be the greatest beings that we be. So 3 Steps to End Racism right now, I think effectively introduces that. I think it was it is the relatively recently is the most recent it's the most recent literary work which introduces Black supremacy Rastas had wrote about it prior, and maybe in the 70s. They have a Black supremacy. I think it's called Black Supremacy scroll, but they really don't go into what Black supremacy is. And that is critical if you're talking about ending racism right now, at this very moment, as we speak even. You know, we could end racism right now. They make it complicated. You know, they make the issue of race so complicated. Like, oh, we can't, I was told by several people, and even, you know, especially while pushing this book and bringing out this book, we released the book on January 20th. And since January 20th, I've been hearing people talk about, oh, well, you can't end racism. You know, we got to deal with it and we got to live with it. And, you know, my son's got to be called a nigger when he goes to school. No. Yeah. We don't have to endure racism at all. You know, racism is not something that we had to endure at all. You know, we can end racism right now as we speak. So we can end racism right now as we speak. So ending racism right now is the most effective. 3 ways to end racism right now will effectively end racism as we speak at this very moment. We don't have to endure it. Our children don't have to be called nigger when they go to school. None of that. So 3 steps to end racism right now is about effectively ending racism in real time, and then going and becoming greater and greater beings. So it could be read in one sitting. I implore everybody to read it. The link should be in here. And also I encourage everybody to get the hard copy, because the hard copy is actually going to, they can't censor your coffee table. They can't deplatform your library in your house. So that's why I encourage everybody to get the hard copy. And you can actually do that by emailing me at 3stepstoendracism@gmail.com. I did not go through Amazon to get this to put this book out. I didn't go through anybody. This is completely self-published. There's a completely grassroots movement. And I've actually been shocked about how many people have gotten the hard copy since January 20th. It's been amazing to me, because I didn't expect it. I expected, you know, people to say, oh, well, we're going to read about it for free, you know, and I didn't expect anything else. But 3 steps to end racism right now is very effective. It's a very effective model to end racism as we speak right now. And the key to ending racism right now is to get the language right. So when we talk about 3 steps to end racism right now, it's about how we speak to each other and how we address things. You know, for example, I'm gonna give you a little glimpse of the book. The fact that we are calling pink people white is a complete misnomer. There's absolutely no reason why we should be calling pink people white. First of all, black people are the only people that could be both black and white. Now, white is a status that was stolen by a group of pink people and used as a false racial identification. Now, this status means of high society. So, for example, if your name was Malik, you know, or Snoop, they would call Snoop the white. That would be your title of high society, you know. So they took this title and applied it to a racial identification. So that's what they did. And so to now call them white, and subconsciously in our mind, we are linking them to royalty, to all of these other things like that. So, you know, we are linking them to all these different things. So we had to get out of that mindset. We had to get the language right, like Martin Luther King said. That's one of the most real things that Martin Luther King said, is that we have to get the language right. And so it is absolutely critical that we get the language right when we're addressing race, when we're addressing these different things, because it's about, you know, how are we going to get out of this? We're not going to get out of it by keep calling them white or keep addressing this racism, what I call pink power terrorism, as white supremacy. White supremacy is the falsest term in the English language. First of all, they're not white, as I stated earlier, and they're not supreme by any means. But the fact that a lot of Miss Leadership class and Black activists say white supremacy, it keeps the racism going. It empowers this racist paradigm, you know, and so we have to drop that completely. White supremacy, the term white supremacy needs to be dropped completely from our vernacular. We need to completely drop that from what we're saying. So we have to get the language right. It does take a degree of conditioning to absolutely get the language right. But you know, that 3 steps to end racism is a start to do that. It will effectively end racism in real time. So that's what it's about. It's about taking control and taking it's about taking control of your life, about taking control of your legacy, about taking control of your destiny. You know, as Marcus Garvey said, we're going upward and onward as far as this destiny is concerned. So that's what 3 steps to end racism right now is about. It's about moving in an upward and onward fashion. So, you know, we want the best things for our children, but we are stuck in the same paradigm, using the same language. And when Black people are effectively in a loop, in a cycle that we have been in every 150 years. You know, the first time was in the Revolutionary War, where you had to choose between the Patriots or the British. Second time was in the Civil War, or what they call the Civil War, where you had to choose between the Union or the Confederates. Now people are choosing between the Democrats or the deplorables. And it's just a sick cycle that is used to usurp Black energy and put us into a lower realm of servitude. So 3 steps to end racism right now is the most important literary work of the new age. It's a manual for the new age. It's a manual for the new world. So it is about redefining what we see, because as free people, we define our world as we see it and as we see fit. So 3 steps to end racism right now is about defining our world as we see it and as we see fit. So you guys can hit me up on Instagram at 2RawForTV Takeover, or you can call me Prophet. And the link is in the bio, so you could read it there. And I'm encouraging every Black person. I'm on a mission. To have every last single Black person read this, because it's that important. You know, it's hard for me to sleep knowing that you have not read this yet. So, you know, it's my mission for every Black person to read this, because this is how we really take our power back. It's not by, status correction. This is the ultimate status correction. Once you get the language right, you know, you're ultimately changing your status right there and then. You know, it's not by, force. It's not by any of that. It's by our own mind. Once we realize who we are in our own mind, then that is where You know, that's where the power lies. You know, so ending racism right now and is important. Black supremacy is Black people's true culture. You know, and so that it's about getting the language right in real time and recognizing and realizing what it is. So that it goes into racial roles, racial reclassification, and even shows where Black people should be living. You know, a map. You know, we break it down and show a map of where Black people should be living, where other people should be living, and where pink people should be living. So it breaks down every last single facet. I comprised it from months and months of note taking, so it's very condensed. It's a condensed version of all those notes, and people are asking me what qualifications I have to write the book. I have been part of an off-the-grid community in which we provided Black people with free food, clothing, and shelter. So to actually be part of something where you see Black people free, most Black people have never been free ever in their whole life. You know, since they were a child, their parents have used their social security number to get cable or something, you know? So, you know, Black people have never been free ever in their whole life. So in order to know how to be free, you have to be free. So in order to write something that gives people freedom, you have to have that vantage point and viewpoint. You got to know what it is to be free. You know, most Black people have just know work, and they just know bills, and they just know rent, and they just know that, you know, we're trying to make it and all this stuff like that. And that's not what it is. That's not what it is. So in order to actually give Black people freedom, you have to be free. You know, Harriet Tubman couldn't have freed any of the slaves if she was still working on the plantation. So, you know, and so we're coming from that vantage point. 3 Steps to End Racism right now is the most important literary work of the new age. Download it now, read it right now, and you know, it's going to take you on that next level. You know, it's going to take you on the next level. It actually hits on every facet as well. It talks about, of course, ending racism, but talks about spirituality and talks about where we are going. So it's not just ending racism. Ending racism is just one step in the multitude of steps that we need to take. I mean, this is like a short-term goal. You know, ending racism. Racism is going to end regardless if we end it or, you know, pink people just perish, you know. But at that point, when pink people perish, you know, we can actually uphold racism, uphold pink power. And that's what's happening right now. Right now, the pink people are they are what you would consider endangered species. They're an endangered species. You know, they are at 0 birth rate, which they're dying off quicker than they're being born. But still, pink power terrorism, i.e. racism, is still going on. You know, it's still happening. And black people are the ones that are holding it. You know, so black people could only be racist towards other black people. And that's another thing too. Racism is specifically about actions that are done. And I break down the true definition of racism. Matter of fact, let me do this. I'm going to read the true definition of racism, which you're not going to find in Webster's dictionary. You're not going to find in Black's Law Dictionary. Throw that thing out. Throw Black's Law Dictionary in the trash immediately if you have one. But that is the worst right there. But the true definition of racism, it's not glorified. It's not glorified prejudice or anything like that. Racism is a system of rules, regulations, and laws often implemented under the guise of bigotry and hatred, meant to disenfranchise, enslave, and kill Black people to maintain a structure of false power. Let me read that again so you guys can really grasp it. Racism is a system of rules, regulations, and laws often implemented under the guise of bigotry and hatred, meant to disenfranchise, enslave, and kill Black people to maintain a structure of false power. So under that definition of racism, which that's what racism truly is. Racism is not, calling some Asian person slanty eyes or something like that. That's not what racism is. That may be bigotry, that may be prejudice, warranted, I may say as well, warranted prejudice. However, 3 steps to end racism right now is about showing and bringing that true language and getting our language right. Black people could only be racist towards other Black people because guess what? You could call the police on a Black person. They're going to come up like the hit squad and kill that person, murk that person right there and then. So you have that person that called the police effectively has used the tools of racism against another Black person. However, when a Black person tries to do that to a pink person, they're not going to get the same results. They're not going to come out there like that, and you can't use the law against these other people like they use it against us. So Black people could only effectively use racism against each other. So, we had to realize and recognize and get the language right about what even racism is, because people got several definitions of what racism is. People say racism is this and racism is that, and racism is what's in Webster's dictionary. Webster is not going to tell you what you need to hear. Black's Law Dictionary, which was written for the sole purpose to denigrate the word Black, hence the title Black's Law Dictionary. It's not gonna tell you what's really happening or the true definition, or that Black is akin to divinity, and we called ourselves Black throughout time. There has not been one time that pink people did not give us the term Black. They didn't say you guys are Black. We called ourselves Black throughout time and millennial. The Kemet was known as the land of the Blacks. Asar is the perfect Black. The Blackfoot Indians. The list goes on and on. The Blackamoors. The list goes on and on and on. And actually more translates into Black, which is insane now that modern day quote unquote Moors don't want to be called Black, which is completely insane to me because Moor actually translates into Black. It's like, and then, Moor is actually not what they were calling themselves. This is not what they were saying. They were probably calling themselves Black, literally. So we got to get the language right, because we're walking around with all these definitions and defining it. And, we really saw what this world was. We could end racism right now as we speak. Right now as I'm talking to you. Racism is ended. So that's why 3 steps to end racism right now is the absolute most important book of the new age. It's the absolute most important book of the new age. And so, I definitely encourage everybody to get a hard copy at 3 steps to end racism at gmail.com. You can support the craft via Cash App at $Palmetto Star, PalmettoStar. or you can go to my Patreon, patreon.com/YouCanCallMeProphet. And you know, one of the things that, you know, is very important to me is that we carry on the true tradition of Black people, and that is to become the greatest people that we can possibly be, and then be greater than that. You know, all of these things where the debates and you know, about who we are and what we are, and are we the Israelites, or are we the indigenous, or are we, you know, Cherokee? That is so irrelevant. Black people are all of these things because we were the first people on all lands. I don't know what is so hard to comprehend. Most people talking about that, because when you talk to I'm not going to say all Black people, but when you talk to some of these Black people that are, especially in this debating world, where they talk about all Black people are the Israelites, or all Black people are none of that. We were the first Caucasians. You know what I'm saying? When they were drawing what a Caucasian was, they drew a Black person as dark as me. So we were the first Caucasians. We were the first Greeks. We were the first Romans. We were the first every last single thing that you could think of. The first Japanese, the first Chinese, you know, we were the first of all that. So to pigeonhole us and to say we are Israelites, or we are Moors, I mean, to me, it's so foolhardy. And, you know, it doesn't show, it's immature. Because how are you going to have the whole world? Black people were on the whole world. That's the truth. We were the first people on every last single acre of this land, in this world. And now you're going to say that we are just one thing, or we are this and we are that and we are this. We are none of that. We are supreme beings. Becoming. That's what we are, you know, and we forgot. All we did was forget that we are truly connected to the divine, that we are truly connected to the supreme, you know, and we're following the path on the way to do that. And so, you know, we do have our Black supremacy culture out here in Atlanta and all around the world, you know, so we are, but, you know, as far as writing about Black supremacy and showing it in the literary fashion, I'm the only one that could do that. So I tasked myself. It was my duty to write about it. You know, a lot of different Black supremacists have different roles. And, you know, as far as, you know, implementing our culture. And so, you know, I'm the only one that could actually write about it in real time, tell people what it is, and give people a manuscript for this new world that we're in. Because right now we're living in two worlds simultaneously. We're living in the world of facts. That's the people that voted for Joe Biden, and they're Democrats, and they're going to take the COVID vaccine, and they're wearing 2 masks and all that weird shit. They're in one world, right? And then there's another world where people are empowering themselves. They're becoming more self-sufficient. They're embracing their supreme nature. And so that there's another world that these two worlds are operating simultaneously. And at the same time, we're on multiple timelines. There's multiple timelines happening in both of those worlds. So it's a place where people can be confused. You can be confused about what's happening easily because everything is happening right now. At this very moment, every last single thing that can happen is happening at this very moment. So 3 steps to end racism right now is about bringing you out of that confusion. It's about taking you to another state, into where we have our power. and where you're not paying these bills, and where you're not, you're not relying on their falling system. So 3 Steps to End Racism right now is a guide to the new world. It's a guide to Black supremacy, and it's a guide to end racism as we speak in this very moment, this very second, at this present time right now. So I encourage everybody to do that, to donate to the cause via Cash App, $ Palmetto Star. We are creating our new world right here. We're not asking permission to create our new world. And if you want to get a glimpse of that new world, I encourage everybody to come out on May 19th to Atlanta, where we're celebrating Malcolm X Day. We're not asking permission to celebrate our progressive leaders. So we are celebrating Malcolm X Day. We're claiming Malcolm X Day, #CMXD. We've been doing that for years, and I've been privileged to be one of the pioneers of actually bringing out Malcolm X Day. You know what I'm saying? And actually putting out Malcolm X Day on the map. So, you know what I'm saying? I've been come out to Atlanta May 19th at 2857 Main Street in East Point, Georgia. That's where we're going to be celebrating Malcolm X's Day, and you could get a glimpse of the world of Black supremacy. So I'm encouraging everybody to come out there and to experience Black supremacy. And Malcolm X actually called himself a Black supremacist, and he recognized and realized what was happening. So I'm so glad to be part of that and to be one of the people that have pioneered celebrating Malcolm X's Day on May 19th and pushed that all across the world, from Las Vegas to Lagos, Nigeria, to Philadelphia. So come out, join us, and get 3 steps to end racism right now. Let that be your guide. So I appreciate you, brother, for letting me share that information on your platform. I know you don't remember, but we have spoke several times prior.
When I saw your email address, I don't know, how long have you had that email address?
Since I've been in Atlanta, so over 10 years. It
seems as though I saw that email address somewhere before. I'm not.
Yeah. Because we talked.
Have you ever? You haven't lived in Michigan or Toledo, have you?
Mm-mm. No.
Have you ever visited there?
No.
Okay. All right. Like I said, I've been here on social media, on YouTube since 2007, and they come and go. Unless you really done something dramatic where I can really remember, I can't.
I'll tell you exactly what it was, because you were a big you had followed the movement of the Black supremacy movement out here in Atlanta with KMBS and all of that stuff like that. Yeah. So we all had correspondence.
Oh, you weren't on that live stream with King Noah at one time, were you?
I potentially was.
But he was in Chicago at the time when we had that.
No, I wasn't. I never was in Chicago. Nah.
Yeah. And he was in Chicago at the time.
Okay.
And I really haven't, since he's been in Atlanta, I haven't really had any communication with him since he's been in Atlanta.
Okay.
So, are you affiliated with King Noah?
Well, he's a Black supremacist, and this is the Black supremacy movement. It's all encompassing. He is definitely someone that had, and I give him a shout out at the beginning of the book, because what he did clearly define what Black supremacy was to me. You know what I'm saying? And we have worked together as far as like providing people with free food, clothing, and shelter, and providing communities in that way. So yeah, I have been associated with him as far as that's concerned. He has done a lot of good work in the community. I don't have anything bad to say about about him or anything like that. You know, we have been associated in that way as far as creating communities and just, you know, providing people with the true definition of what Black supremacy is. I think that him and myself are probably the two foremost thought leaders on Black supremacy. You know, when people think of Black supremacy, it's they either think about me or they think about him. You know what I'm saying? So we are the two foremost thought leaders of Black supremacy. So yeah. So that's I hope that answered your question.
Yes, yeah. It does. On this platform here, of course, those who come here on a regular basis, they know that the sisters get top priority on this platform, and then after the sisters, the chat room, those in there, me myself, I can always go last. And there's no sisters here, and we have one question for you in the chat room, and I taken a few notes here. You know, want to fly those by you and see what you want to talk about on that. But we do have one question from the chat room. I guess everybody's thinking. Put your questions in the chat room if you want to join the conversation. The link is up there somewhere. I done lost track where it is, and I got to put it back. If you want to join the conversation real quick, I don't know how long we're going to be here, but you can join the conversation, jot down your comments, and we're going to try to entertain as much as possible here.
I also want people to read the book too, and then ask questions as well. So I would love people to read the book and then, you know, ask some questions as well. Like I said, you can read it in one setting, but what's the question?
The question here is, after racism, how do we end drugs and killing each other?
Well, racism, or what I call pink power terrorism, is actually the root of a lot of drug use and a lot of the killing of each other. See, the fact that we are hold on for 1 second. Let me turn this thing off so I won't interrupt this conversation. Can I turn it off right now? But the fact that we are even talking about killing each other is the fact that we live on top of each other like sardines. And that is a direct result of racism. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the killing that has happened because people are living like this. You know what I'm saying? I live here, you know what I'm saying? And you live right here, right on top of my face. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So when you're that close to people, you're going to be like, hey, excuse me. Then you just see me walk. I mean, come on. So it is. They call it the projects for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a project to see exactly how people react to living this close to each other. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, you know, ending racism, and like I said, there's actually I actually break down and have a map of how we will start living and how we should reassume our locations, because we need to get out of these cities. You know what I'm saying? As Black people, we shouldn't be in the cities. The cities are for pinks. Mm-hmm. And the burnt down husk of these cities specifically are for pink people. The cities need to go. Absolutely. They need to be ashes. And pink people need to be in those ashes.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how you would stop it. How ending racism right now would stop that.
Okay. Well, this thing, you know, with projects, you know, that's not nothing new. I mean, with civilization came projects, because what happened was, since they began to dominate the land, and people became less dependent upon themselves, they was forced to go into city life. and they was forced to start packing up on one another. So that's been going on a long time, and it's not a ghetto project thing in America. This happens all around the world. It's happening in all kinds of countries. This thing, because with civilization, and see, for me, people think that civilization is really a fantastical thing. You know, it's really, really great. And we did all these stuff. I wouldn't brag about that too fast, because with civilization, that was the beginning of taking your independence as an individual away, where you can't even take care of yourself, because every individual deserves a little plot of space so to take care of yourself. And if you marry, then you and your wife, y'all can put y'all little plots of land or whatever together and raise your family or whatever. But every human being deserves that little space. If I don't want to be a part of city life, I have the right to have my little space, have my little well. I can raise my little chickens, grow me an apple tree. I don't have to be part of that at all.
Yeah.
But with civilization, the forces that be, I want it all. I control everything here. That don't no longer exist. No more hunter and gathering. They destroyed all, because this is my land. We ain't hunting and gathering on my land. So it takes your independence away from you. You know, if we had that option in Texas, everybody would have their own little individual plot where they can they could have a like when I was growing up. When I was growing up, we didn't have electricity. This was the 60s. I didn't grow up with electricity. I didn't grow up with water in the house. You know, we had outhouses. We had a well outside. You had to go outside and get the water from the well. All that type of stuff. So if everybody by right had those little things, what's going on in Texas right now, because the power grid went down, wouldn't make no difference, because you have your own little stuff. You burn your wood, you get your coal, blah blah. You have in most of these buildings, they're not even set up so that you can burn wood or coal or some outside source. You're dependent on natural gas, propane, and electricity. And so that's the beginning. So with civilization, that began to take your independence away. Also, begin to crowd people upon themselves. They even did an experiment with rats and mice. As long as the rats and mice had plenty of food, plenty of space, no problem. But when they began to stack people, stack the rats on top of one another, the stress level goes up, the violence, all kinds of stuff. Fur start coming out, all that type of thing. So
that's deliberately done to black people. That's deliberately done to black people. So
we've been doing it even before we got into this condition. What I'm saying is, even prior to Europeans, they was living that kind of way too. They were stacked on top of one another into these cities, into these crowded conditions. They was doing that in some of these cities in Africa, wherever you want to go. They was doing that even prior to Europeans appearing. So that's not nothing.
I would say that it was not like the projects where you have like 25-story buildings and people are this close to each other. We did have cities in ancient times and in Africa and Atlantis and all of these places. We had cities, but I would challenge the notion that it was as compact as they are right now. And the living was a lot different too, because we lived more communally, which in those environments is optimum to live in a communal fashion, as opposed to this dog-eat-dog capitalistic style of living that we have adopted as black people. So I would challenge the notion that we had these projects and they were exactly like they were in 2021, as they were, in times of the Lemuria and Kemet and Atlantis. So I understand exactly what you're saying, but the mind state, and I would say the way they were set up were a lot different. I mean, they had the ancient Mayans had cities, but they weren't they didn't have project buildings. Show me one ancient Mayan project building where it's 25 stories high. You got, people peeing in the, on the steps. There was none of that. You know what I'm saying? Because people not only they live differently. If you're going to live in an environment where you are living that close to each other, the best optimum thing would be to live communally. As opposed to you got your shit over there, I got my stuff over there. You better not come over here and ask for any sugar at all. You know what I'm saying? Or it's going to be a fight. Mm-hmm. And that's how we're living right now. We don't even people are so scared to even talk to anybody. You know what I'm saying? And when you interact and have a human conversation with somebody, they're almost, you know what I'm saying? They're almost blown back by that. So, so I would challenge the notion that, just to what you're saying, brother, and I definitely love what you're saying, but I would definitely challenge the notion that that we had projects like we do in modern day times as we did in our age of rulership, a predominant rulership, I should say.
True that. All I wanted to bring up was, of course, they, during those periods of time, don't live the way we are, but it's still the same basic idea. It still was in effect. Mm-hmm. It didn't go as far. I mean, they didn't have, like you said, they didn't have the high rises and the skyscraping building, the big project type things, whatever. But it was still basically the same. You have people put on top of one another because you have to live in a city. They took your independence away. You can't just go out and have your own little land spot and do your own thing. Matter of fact, in modern times, a lot of the people, they have no choice but to go to the city in order to survive. They can't even make it even on the land that they have on the outskirts. They have to end up going to the city for whatever that they need. They took our individual independence away. And that's where our problems really began. When you're not allowed or you don't have the capability, I have to pay a water bill to get a drink of water. I should be able to just go out and have access to water. All the necessities of life, I should have access to these things. I shouldn't have to pay the bill. Now in modern times, you must have electricity. You must have gas. But I have to go to another man and ask them pay a bill and work myself to death or be homeless on the street or be dependent. Or now in Texas, I'm freezing my butt off because I'm dependent on another man and hope that whatever he built up don't mess up. Now, either I'm too damn hot in the summertime or now I'm freezing my butt off in the wintertime because I'm dependent on these certain people. They got to keep it right all the time. And that's not going to be possible all the time. And there's no other, they don't have no other way out. Like if this grid go down, this is what we do. This is our alternative plan. They don't have nothing like that and probably still won't have an alternative plan. But our time is going by. I don't know how much time that you got. I got some notes here. And I just want to breeze, throw some at you a little bit here. Not, that's the wrong word. Just fly some notations past you real quick, because I'm not going to get into it, because everything that you're saying, it really takes some time to discuss and things like that. We don't have that today, but maybe you can come back and we can expound on some of these things greater tomorrow. I want to say, because I had King Noble on my mind, I want to send a shout out to King Noble, because out of the whole 2007, since I've been on YouTube since 2007, he's the only brother. And at one time, before YouTube start terminating my channels and terminating his channels, if they did not mess with our channels, King Noble would have just as much notoriety as Tariq Nasheed or Omar, what's his name, Umar Johnson, and all these other folks. We would have just as much notoriety as they are. YouTube destroyed over 100 of my channels.
They deplatform.
They destroy his channel. But King Noble is the only brother that I never had a problem with, because I criticized and you follow me a little while, I have criticized a lot of folks' beliefs and their ideologies and whatever, and they don't like it, get mad at me or whatever, blah, blah, blah. King Noah was the only one I ever had a critique, and he had no problem with it. Because King Noah said, and I still got the video, King Noah said, your ability to handle that critique, that determines how strong you can stand.
Mm-hmm.
So these people can't even handle critique. And they get mad and upset and angry. You're Kuna and Sambo, and King Noah was the only brother in all these years. I never had a problem with that. And we talked and whatever. He's gonna be King Noah. I'm gonna be me. We get along. And somebody jump on King Noah, I got to roll with on the King Noah side.
That's what's up. Black supremacy.
Yeah, that's how we're gonna ride. So
right.
I want to send a shout out to King Noah and his people, because we definitely don't agree on a lot of things. We definitely don't. But we brothers and we understand the situation, and we know who the enemy is, and we're gonna ride against the enemy together. And that's the important thing.
Or should I say truth?
So you said that black supremacy is natural for us.
Yes.
Okay, that's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay. First of all, this identity of black. And you said that ancient cultures, other people around the world, they embrace that identity or that label black. Now, what is black? Is black a race/species? What is black? Because black, okay, now to my understanding, if we're gonna use this, to my understanding, black people, and you said black people around the world, that would mean in this instance that we're saying that black is a species. It is a race or a species. That's what we're saying. Now, if black is a race or a species, if black is a race or a species, and you call black people in America black people, how can we be black people as an identity when black it's like this? Bird is the species or the race. Bird is the species or the race. But you have a black bird, you got the robin, you got the chicken. What kind of bird is black? Bird. What kind of bird are you? I'm a black bird. I'm a robin. I'm a chicken. So if you talk about black people, then what are we? We can't be black people because black people is a species. It's a race. So what is the identity of the ones called nigger in America? We can't be black people because black people is all around the world. It's a species or a race. What is our label? What is our identity?
Well, as I stated in the book, I broke down the racial classification. First of all, we are so confused and confiscated by this by this race. You know what I'm saying? By these things of race, they try to confuse the issue. These pink people that are in Japan, they call themselves Japanese but are not. These pink people in Brazil, they call themselves Brazilian but are not. So we first of all we're confused about what black is. Black is a divine being. It supersedes nationality. It supersedes even, it supersedes any of that. When you close your eyes, I encourage everybody to close your eyes. What do you see? You see darkness. You see blackness. You see the void. That's what black is. Black is that power. You know what I'm saying? That's why we say black supremacy, because it goes beyond even the concept of skin. Yes, I have a dark skin. I'm a dark skin tone brother. Yes. And I am black. Yes. A lot of people are like, oh, well, you're not black, you're dark brown. No, I'm black. But, it supersedes that. So that's why, most people in the world are black. And, you know, I break down the reclassifications of what we should call ourselves in the 4 categories. Black being the top one. And why we should use black right now, because in order to end racism, we must do exactly 180 degrees of what is being done right now. Right now, black is the most frowned upon association. It is the most denigrated race. It is the most terrorized group of people. So in order for us to end racism right now, black people, which we've always called ourselves in every last single language, correspondence to black people should be the most celebrated people. We should be the most wealthiest, the most prominent people, so in order to end racism right now, everything must switch 180 degrees. That's why there's a thing in the book, as you read the book, it's called the Black World 180 assignment. You know what I'm saying? So the Black World 180 assignment is how people actually engage while they are reading the book to end racism right now. And it's about flipping the world and the viewpoint 180 degrees. So that is exactly why, because it has been the most denigrated. It has been the most assaulted and terrorized group of people. There is no subset of black people, whether you call yourself Moor, whether you call yourself a Hebrew Israelite, whether you call yourself anything that has that same history as the black people. So in this new world, we will be the most celebrated. So that's what I have to say about black and why black people should stay and consistently use that term of black like we have been using. Because and let me say this, as free people, we can define ourselves as we see fit and as we see it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not knocking anybody that calls themselves a Hebrew or calls themselves a Moor or calls themselves this and calls themselves that or whatever they want to call themselves. However, you cannot argue the point that black, it is the black man, it is the black woman that have been the most defiled, assaulted, terrorized, marginalized, everything in this land that we are calling America now, but it's Turtle Island, and on this land and around the world. That's exactly why black people should call themselves black. It supersedes race and nationality and all of these things. Black is divinity. Black is divine. Black is supreme.
What would you say to somebody if they ask you that if it was not for something called white supremacy or pink supremacy, I prefer to say pink supremacy. I'm with you. I'm with the pink thing. I'm with the pink thing. When you said pink people, I'm like, right on, right on.
And they get mad when you say pink. That's the whole thing. They don't get mad when you call them a cracker. They don't get mad when you say these different things that they say are just a racial slur. But if you call a pink person pink and call a spade, like they say, call a spade, they get upset about that. They're like, well, I'm not pink. Yeah, you are. But anyway, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
You know me back in the day. I don't know how much you know me, but back in the day, I said I used to, and that's why my channel got flagged all the time by these folks. I used to refer to them as racist Caucasians. That's why I used to say all the time, racist Caucasian. Then later on, I start referring to them as pink people. And but first of all, and I was responding to, this white guy, this pink guy. He was asking, you calling me a pink person? That's racist too. But I said, how is it? That's not racist. It has nothing with, if I call you pink, there's no origin, there's nothing behind, there's no foundation where you can calling you pink to you being discriminated against, lynched, raped, and enslaved.
Yeah.
Now, when you call me black or Negro or any of these other things, there also come this baggage that comes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, on top of that, who called you white? You called you white. Nobody around the world.
Made it up.
You called yourself white. Because when I hear from the information that I've been reading, they never called you white. That since you control the media, you know, a lot of this media, you call yourself white. And you know in your language, white means holy, pure, and stuff. And
that
you
know,
and you know, and I know that you're not. But now in other languages, white is referred to something to death, actually. It's related to death and sickness. White. But in your language, holy, pure, righteous, and all that kind of good stuff. So you know that you're not holy, pure, and righteous and all that stuff. And I know that. But I also call them pink because I was looking at this documentary while this sheriff colored his jail cells pink. And it's because pink has a calming, soothing, they say it has a calming, soothing thing over the mind. And it makes you docile. And that's why he was painting his jail cells pink. It's a symbol of weakness. And that's what y'all are. You really are weak.
Exactly.
You know, you bullies. You really. And so, and on top of that, when it comes to skin color, you're not white. You are pinkish or reddish, or you're not like that. You don't have no real pigmentation. I saw a Caucasian lady, and she almost looked like white as snow. She had, nothing, not even a redness. She just looked. I'm like, I had to look at her. Are you real? She looked like one of those white girls who go to Macy's. And she was alive. I had to look at her twice. I tried not to stare at her, but I've never seen a Caucasian person, didn't even have the pink reddish color. She was totally white, like this piece of paper. That's the way she looked. I'm like, is she real? She was real. And they can get like that. But that's why I said pink. When you said pink people, right on, brother. Yeah, that's right on. Okay.
Absolutely. You got to get the language right. That's one of the realest things that Martin Luther King said, that's we had to get the language right. And so 3 steps to end racism right now is about getting the language right. Yeah.
So I'm going to, when I get time, I'm going to make a response video to your interview. And I hope that you'll come back. I'm going to send the video to our sister. And shout out to Sister Omega. How you doing out there? Shout
out to the sister, Madam-elect Omega.
Yeah. And
VP, Madam-elect Omega.
Yeah, I want you to watch the video because I want to respond, because like I said, it's a lot of stuff here we're not going to even be able to cover because I don't know how much time that you got. I'm trying to whiz through these things. I took more notes than I thought I would be able to take too. But okay.
Well, I have at least 20 more minutes.
Okay. So let me see if I can squeeze some of these things. I'm not going to even give myself a commentary. I'm just going to let you answer the notes that I take, the questions that I have. Because if I add my little 2 cents, I'm long-winded. We be here till tomorrow sometime. Okay, now look. Okay. So the question I was raising was, if it was not for, what would you say to somebody, if it was not for white supremacy or pink supremacy, I prefer, would black supremacy exist? Was there a black supremacy before white supremacy? Because to my knowledge, I've never seen it, or maybe it didn't go by the name of black supremacy.
Right. That's a great question too. Actually, before there was anything, there was black supremacy. Everything comes from the void. Everything comes from darkness. Everything comes from the pitches black. Everything, even light. People call themselves light workers, but all they are doing is painting over somebody else's picture with their light. In order to create light, you need darkness, you need blackness, you need complete pitch blackness. So before there was anything, before there was an echo, before there was a word, before there was water, before there was a word, before there was a Palmetto star, before there was a prophet Rhovet, there was black supremacy. Black supremacy has always existed, and existence comes from Black supremacy. Existence comes from the supreme nature of Blackness. So I would say that yes. Let me say this also, and I talk about this explicitly in the book, but pink power terrorism, i.e., white supremacy, is not the opposite of Black supremacy. Black supremacy is not white supremacy in blackface. You know what I'm saying? Black supremacy is. Let me do this. I'm giving you guys the whole book, but I want y'all to read it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving you the whole book, but I'm gonna tell people what the true definition of Black supremacy is. And I clearly defined it. And shout out to KMBS because he actually gave me this definition as we were, as we were establishing communities and things of that nature out here in Atlanta. Black supremacy is the true culture of Black people on a journey toward their godhood by any means necessary and even unnecessary to become the most divine version of themselves. It is an ever unfolding path and the only way to achieve immortality. So white supremacy is racism. There's no if you put white supremacy and change if define racism, you put in the word white supremacy, it would not change the definition of what that was. You know what I'm saying? So Black supremacy is not the opposite of pink power terrorism. You know what I'm saying? It's not the opposite of that. It is the creation of life. You can't compare the God of the universe to a gnat. You know what I'm saying? And that's essentially what you do when you compare Black supremacy and pink power terrorism, what people popularly known as white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? You're comparing the God of the universe to an insect. Honestly, that's what I had to say about that as well.
Okay. All right. So your book is entitled 3 Steps to End Racism Right Now. Yes. Okay. So just briefly, what is the 3 steps? 1, 2, 3. What are the steps?
I'm giving it on for you, bro. I'm giving it on. I'm gonna give you the 3 steps, okay? I'm gonna give you the 3 steps, but you gotta look at the book to really sort of give yourself a view of what I'm talking about. And like I said, I do it. It's available for free online, but I do encourage everybody to get a hard copy because, as you were saying about King, his platforms were deplatformed. All of our platforms were deplatformed. You know what I'm saying? All of Black supremacy. They took off my channel. They put me on CNN. They put me on Fox News. All that stuff like that. And they, you know what I'm saying, at the same time. So, but let me give you the 3 steps. I'll give you a synopsis of the 3 steps to end racism. The first absolute step is racial reclassification, the end of the white race. So that's the first step, is that we got to reclassify what we think of as race. And now the second step is racial reassignment, roles and relocation, the 3 R's. So we had to it's about, because right now we're tacitly, let me say it like this. We are playing racial roles, but people are not explicitly talking about it. They're just showing you on movies. The Black person is supposed to be the gangbanger. That nigger is supposed to be, drinking a 40 and blah, 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 and filling up the prison system. So they have these unspoken racial roles. In the new world, racial roles will be clearly defined. So the second step is racial reassignment, roles and relocation. So that's the second step. The third step is resurrecting the royal order with the right language and reawakening the Black supreme God. So these are the 3 steps to end racism right now. So yeah, so those are the 3 steps, is to reassign our first is to reclassify, second is to reassign, and third is to recognize that we are Black supreme beings. So those are the 3 steps to end racism right now, to sum it up.
What do you mean? What is your definition, or what do you mean when you say that we are supreme beings?
We are beings that are capable of creating and creating more, and that we are we are of God, and we are God itself. We are God. You know what I'm saying? So our path, Black supremacy, is to become God, and that's not a destination. Being God and being supreme is not a definition. I mean, not a destination, I should say. So you could be a supreme baby, but you're going to grow up and you're going to keep walking. You're going to keep going on that same path. Being God is not a destination, so you can't define it in saying this is what God is. You know what I'm saying? This is what supreme beings are, because being supreme is a path. You know what I'm saying? It's just like referencing the Bible. God was a man, and God was an infinite being as well, and he was both at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So being God is not a supreme path. And I see the comment on there by the brother Polite. And I definitely get what you're saying, but it doesn't promote racism per se, because once you reassign what race even is, people understand. Like pink people, when people read the book, they understand, what their role is. You know what I'm saying? It makes absolute sense to them. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about we got to get out of it's only confusing because we are thinking of what they are calling race right now. We are currently in the current paradigm of what race is. You know what I'm saying? So we need to step out of that. And 3 steps to end racism right now is about stepping out of that, stepping outside of that loop and stepping outside of that cycle.
You said in your talk that, and correct me if I'm in error, but basically I was hearing that if white folks disappeared, or if they are set down or something like that, racism as we know it, that would come to an end. Did I hear you correct? Is that, would that be?
No, at this current time, racism, what we call racism, if all pink people were to perish right now, actually Black people would take the realms and be the new pink people, and they will continue this racist thing towards Black people. Because as I clearly stated in the book, racism can only be enacted towards Black people. You know what I'm saying? It is absolute is towards Black people. It's not Black people calling some Arab sand nigger or something like that. You know what I'm saying? That's not what racism is. Racism is directed towards Black people. So yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why this book is the most important book of the new age, because as pink people are declining, they are at 0 birth rate. We have a choice to continue in the old world where people are, taking these COVID vaccines. They're voting for Joe Biden. They're being a Democrat or a deplorable. You know what I'm saying? We could continue that. effectively after pink people perish. You know, we could effectively do that. Or you could step into the new world with me. You could step into the new world of black supremacy. You know, and that's and so you know, 3 Steps to End Racism right now, yes, it is a book, but it's also an invitation. It's an invitation to the new world. So I encourage people to get it and to become part of the new world instead of this world it's already on fire. This old world is already on fire. That people just can't see it. Do you know that when the ships came to the shores of America, the colonial ships, the people that were on the shores, the natives that were on the shores, they couldn't see it. They couldn't see the ships. You know what I'm saying? Because it was so outside of their realm of thinking that they were looking, but they couldn't see the ships that were going to the shore. You know what I'm saying? It took the medicine men that actually could see the ships. You know, they could actually see the ships coming to the shore because, you know, they could actually see it. They were able to step outside of the, you know, their normal paradigm and be able to see the ships. So I'm telling you that this old world is on fire. People are just not seeing the flames. You know what I'm saying? So this old world that people are living in is already on fire. So I encourage people to step in to the new world or be burnt alongside with all the relics of the old world.
Okay. As far as I can see, Black people, especially here in America, we're on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just because white people disappear all of a sudden or whatever, that does not mean we're gonna rise to the top. I mean, we got a whole lot of other folks here. We got a lot of other folks here in better positions than we are. You know, we got the Mexicans and Chinese. We got other folks here that's in a better position. So the white people disappear, and they're supposed to say, wow, there's the Negroes. They're prophesied to take over. Now that the white people aren't, that ain't how things work. You know what happens is the next dominant people, they rise up to the top. If all the white folks disappear, the next dominant people rise up and take their place. You know, nobody gonna sit back and because you think in your mind we live in some kind of fantasy world and we on the bottom, that all of a sudden we supposed to rise to the top. It's not, you know, that's not even realistic. It's not going to work that way.
Right. Well, that's what I was talking about in the book, where I talk about the racial reassignment, because now we're thinking of them as Mexicans and Japanese, and these are invaders. They are non-indigenous people. We don't really even know where they came from. You know what I'm saying? They just popped out of nowhere calling themselves Japanese and Chinese and all this other stuff like that. And I'm Brazilian. What? Where did you even come from? You know what I'm saying? So I would say it like this. The people that are supposedly in positions of power right now, because that's the card that you know, you got the racists like Joe Biden, they're trying to play. They're like, well, y'all Negroes are gonna have to bow down to the Hispanics when we're gone. You're going to have to bow down to them and work for them, and you should ask them what you want, and all this crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. They are not in a position of power, nor in a position of dominance. They are in a promoted role of privilege. You know what I'm saying? All of these people are pining for white privilege. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So all these people are pining for white privilege, and nobody is more dominant than Black people. You know what I'm saying? Nobody. So, you know, these people step out. You know, these pink people disappear. These Asians disappear. All of these people disappear. It's up to us to realize who we are. That's what it is. It's not about them, about these less dominant. Because there's no way some little 5'2" Mexican's going to be dominant over me. I'm sorry. I don't care if you got a machine gun. You know what I'm saying? I'm not taking orders from you. You know what I'm talking about? So they're not the second most dominant people. You know what I'm saying? Black people are the most dominant. We just have to get the language right, honestly.
Well, if somebody got or have a machine gun, it don't make no difference whether they tall or short or whatever. That's
right.
That's a very powerful.
I don't care what they are. I'm not taking orders from. I'm not taking orders from any non-indigenous. I'm not taking orders from any non-indigenous invader, which is what they truly are.
Well, so I mean, so using your logic, why are we accepting that from the Peckerwood?
I don't. I mean, I personally don't. I haven't even seen a pink person for months now. You know what I'm saying? I don't deal with them at all. I don't deal with the reality. I don't deal in their world. That's why I'm inviting other people to do do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But how we deal with them is to just get the language right, because right now we are looking at them, and even as long as we keep on calling them white, we might as well call them Jesus. We might as well call them a supreme being. You know what I'm saying? Because that subconsciously in our mind is akin to royal and you know, of high status. You know what I'm saying? Black people are the only people that could be both black and white. When we were in Europe, and these pink people were our subjects, they could never be white. You know what I'm saying? Only in this world we're confused, and people are taking advantage of the fact that we have forgotten that these people can even consider themselves white. You know what I'm saying? They never could consider them. They never called themselves white when Moors were in control of Europe. No pink person called themselves white. They called themselves Huns. They called themselves Celts. They called themselves the myriad of other ethnic groups that are in Europe. White is actually the first terrorist organization. White is a gang. And when we think about it from that perspective, that when we see these pink people, we're actually seeing a walking war crime. That's what you see when you see a pink person. Because do you know how many black people had to die for that one pink person to be here and survive and in your face and telling you that we're not accepting job applications at the time? You know what I'm saying? So for that one pink person to even survive and be bold enough to get in your face, several black people had to die. So when you are seeing a pink person, you're actually witnessing a war crime. That's a war crime. You know what I'm saying? That the fact that they could never exist in a free society. If people were free, if people were truly free, there would be no pink people. There would be no pink people because genetically they wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that they're even here is a testimony to their terrorism and a testimony to their violence and things of that nature. So when we start thinking about these things, in real time and what it really is, then that would change everything. So that's why 3 Steps to End Racism right now is the most important book of the new age.
All right. So I mean, we covered a lot. We've been almost 2 hours. We covered a
yeah. And I do have to go, but I do want to mention, I want everybody, if you're on the East Coast or if you're in Cali, I don't care. It's May 19th is a little while away. So come out to Atlanta, experience Black supremacy. We are going to be celebrating Malcolm X on his birthday. We're not asking permission to celebrate our progressive leaders. We're not asking permission to honor our true Black supremacists, because Malcolm X even called himself a Black supremacist. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the old videos. So I encourage everybody to come out there in Atlanta. It's going to be worldwide now. There's going to be Claim Malcolm X Day festivals worldwide and different things worldwide. But in Atlanta, we are celebrating at 2857 Main Street. That's in East Point, Georgia. So yeah, I definitely want everybody to come there. This Saturday, there's going to be a Malcolm X MX Media panel discussion. That's on the sister Vice President-elect, Madam Courtney Omega's YouTube channel. So you guys look up Courtney Omega and join us this Saturday at 10:30 a.m. And I encourage everybody to get to read the 3 Steps to End Racism right now online. But I encourage everybody to get a hard copy because I can't tell you how long it's going to be online. It uses real language. It talks about real things. So, you know, when you do that, it's not going to be online long, as you know, brother, as you already know. So I do encourage everybody to get a hard copy. You can actually hit me up on my Twitter, Instagram, inbox me for a hard copy, or you could email me at 3stepstoendracism@gmail.com. And support the movement via Cash App at $ Palmetto Star, our Patreon, where you can get exclusive content at patreon.com. You can call me Prophet. That's with the letter U, can call me Prophet. So I appreciate you, brother, and I appreciate your platform and in the way we exit in our culture Black supremacy.
Yes, sir. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank Sister Omega Courtney for introducing us. Well, we talked a little bit on her program, I believe, one time. Yeah, briefly. And so again, I'm going to make a response video. I'm going to send it to you, and then we can come back again and talk some more, and you can clarify some things if I got something wrong. And I think that would be very interesting. That, you know, we can come together even though we have differences of opinions and things of this nature. That should not interfere with our brotherhood and the fact that I'm also looking for the new world, because this world sucks. And I don't want nothing to do with it myself. There's nothing here that I want. I would like something new. You know, I'm sick of it myself. So I represent that also. Now, with that said, again, thank you to my chat room, the Deacons of Reality. This Brother Polite, who's not Brother Polite, but he's those in the chat room, my Facebook family, those who are listening, and those who will be listening to this broadcast later on. This is our Prophet Rhovet. Is it Rhovet?
Yes, sir. Prophet Rhovet.
Brother Rhovet, Palmetto Star. I'm going to put his information in the actual video here later on when I get all the information. And you can contact this brother. His book is free, so there's no excuse why we can't read the book. But we can support the brother with some ducats. You go ahead and get that. How much is the book?
Well, online and in person is different rates. But I encourage everybody to hit me up on the email, and I could definitely get them a hard copy of the book.
Okay. All right. So with that said, Black supremacy, and we are out of here. As Don Cornelius always used to say, as important, I wish us love, peace, and soul. We out of 5,000, y'all. Where's my little thing that I go out with? Right here.